Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lily, and I am a knitter and a sewer, and this is my new channel where I'm going to be talking about different projects that I've been working on, any knitwear designs that I'm working on, and just what I've been up to in a video format. This is my second video, and my first one was right before I gave birth. I think it was like 3 days before, in the time after my due date, where I was just kind of killing time and doing random things to fill the time before I went into labor, which I ended up doing just a few days after I filmed that. So that video is up if you want to see my introductory video, and that was back in May. And so now it is October, and I guess, yeah, five months or so has passed, almost 6, and a lot has happened. I am a mom now, which is wonderful, and we're having a really great time. And in some ways I haven't had a lot of time, and in some ways I have had a lot of time. So as you'll see, I found that knitting was the thing I could do with my daughter on me, and so I've been doing a lot of knitting, and that you will see in some of my projects. And then I've also started to carve out more time for sewing in her nap times when she's in the carrier usually, and I can be at my sewing machine. So some sewing has crept back in there, which I'm really happy about, because I really miss that, because that's what I did for my work, was either sewing or teaching sewing. So that was a big part of my identity and stuff. So that's nice to have come back in. So I'm going to go through a lot of different projects because it has been so many months. I'm going to try and record a video once a month. That's my goal. But I'm just figuring this all out right now, so I'll just do what I can, film when I can. But yeah, so this is kind of a backlog. So this is a lot more than I expect I'll usually be showing. So I'm gonna jump right in with projects that I have finished, and then I'll go into what I'm currently working on, and then I might talk a little bit about a few things that I have on my docket, but there's enough that I'm currently working on to last me a while. And yeah, how are you all doing? It is October. It's beautiful here in Massachusetts. I can look out right now and see the beautiful fall color in the maple trees and beech trees outside my house. I'm in my living room, which is just a nicely lit space. We moved here to this place right before my daughter was born, so things are still coming together. You can see that we need to paint the walls and connect the wood stove and do all different things. So I don't know where I'll usually film, but today I felt like filming in the living room. So that's where I am. And here are some of my recently, even though it was a few months ago, still feels recent, finished projects. So the first one is the socks, or are the socks, Swedish socks that I finished up, yeah, like right after my daughter was born. They were almost done in my last video. Basically, I didn't know the size of a baby. So I thought these looked really big. They're like the size of my hand. These fit my daughter now at 5 months, and she'll probably grow out of them soon. So I was expecting this to be like a toddler's foot, but this is actually a baby's foot. So yeah, I guess they're bigger than I thought in some ways, but also don't also change that much over, yeah, it's just different. It kind of goes in chunks. So I'm just learning about the size of small children as I start making things for her. But these socks are a Swedish pattern. I talked more about them in my last video. They're done using a extra durable and warm technique, which is essentially just wrapping the stitch every stitch. So it's a lot of striped projects, and it's called tvåenstickning or twined knitting, two-end knitting, and I'm going to be teaching a class on this technique in a year, next October. So I'll be talking about that more when it's a little closer to that date. But yeah, I'm really happy with these. The wool is from Sweden. It's what's it called? Ullcentrum is the brand, and yeah, it's just the black, white, and red. So those are all done, and she has been enjoying them. I especially like the beautiful little bind off and the braids on the ends with the tails, and I have a book that I showed, I think in the last video, that showed me exactly how to do that. So that was really fun, just to like learn a new skill. There's always more you can learn, and that is why I love it. Okay, so those are the socks. Those are finished. Let's see, what else have I been doing? Oh, I finished the other thing from the last video. Was this little project, which is a bag. It is, it's also, I talked about this in the last video, a Swedish style of embroidery called påsum, which is kind of like crewel embroidery, which is a wool on wool embroidery. I can zoom in a little. And this was a sample that I started in a class when I was in Sweden 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now. And I just like filled in all as much as I could. That's part of the technique, is just like a really full, yeah, full on the piece, covering a lot of the background. And I did a plain wool, black wool background, and then lined it with black linen. And then, being me, I love pom-poms, so I made 5 wool pom-poms that I just sewed in the style of some of the other project bags that I saw on the Digital Museum. That's Scandinavia's like collective archive, which is really awesome, and it's very searchable. So I just looked on there for inspiration for this, and it's kind of just like a pocket bag would be a translation. Yeah, like kind of like a pocket, but not like an actual pocket, just like a little bag. And then I had this beautiful band that I got in Norway a few years ago that goes with the color palette. So I love this, and I love it because it's really small, and if I'm going for a walk, I can just put my keys and my phone in it, and I don't need to bring like everything I own in my regular purse. So that's kind of just like a fun little folk inspired piece that I love to have as part of my everyday. So I enjoyed this a lot, and I really like the pom-poms. They're really fun. They're made using a technique I learned from my teachers in Sweden at craft school, where I was for a year, 2 years ago now. And it's like a really, really dense pom-pom, and it's sewed onto a band. So I might cover this in that knitting class as well that I'm going to be teaching, just all about different Scandinavian stuff. Not sure yet, but I think it's very, very fun, very jaunty. So next project is, let's see, a knitting project that I made right after my daughter was born and I was sitting in bed. This is a little improvised log cabin vest. And I was just probably looking on Pinterest or something, and I wanted to knit something like kind of mindless and easy. So I just started with all my scrap yarn. I did not buy any yarn at all for this. And I just started knitting and adding on. And like I said, I had no idea like how big to make it. I sound like a newborn right here. So it was definitely too big for her then, and the straps are a little long for her now, but I think she'll be able to wear this until she's like 3 years old, and she already has started wearing it. So yeah, it's very fun. It's very easy. I picked up on the inside. I would just like knit a square and then just pick up on the edge of the last piece and just pick up and knit. So that made it really easy to just add on to. So that is a little vest. And then I added in like a side piece on each side. I tried to make it nice and colorful, and that is just in garter stitch, which is like just knitting on both sides. And I love garter stitch for children's clothes. I think it's really nice, yeah, application. It just makes it kind of like textural. So that is a little vest for a little girl. And I also made a hat. This is a hat, I did an Instagram post about this. This is a like Norwegian style of baby hat. It has this point in the front that comes down over the forehead and then goes up with some decreases and then down over the ears on each side. And then the decreases just go from the 3 points up to the top. So it's like kind of gnome-like. And I think I'm going to add some ties because it does pop off. But I've been wanting to make this style of hat for so long. I went to a folk school in Norway 11 or 12 years ago now. So I remember seeing little babies wearing this style of hat and thinking it was so cute. This is just some scrap wool that I had in my stash. I think someone probably gave it to me. And the pattern is, I think it's called the Norwegian baby cap, and it is free on Ravelry. So you can find it there. I just think this wool is so nice. It's like a silvery gray. And this was very easy to knit, and I would love to make some more of these. And yeah, like I said, like it's very big. This is the side view. And yet it fits. So yeah, babies are bigger than I expected them to be after a few months. So that's very cute. And I love the very simple decrease lines. All right, moving along. So many things because it's been so many months and I've been very sedentary. My next project that I'm going to show you, I'll just do up the buttons here, is a little cardigan that I made for my daughter. It's about like a 3-month size, and it is by PetiteKnit. And the pattern, I believe, is part of Ellen's Coming Home set. And my friend recommended this as like a baby sweater. I'm just gonna do up these buttons. And I used some yarn that was given to me by one of my sewing students. So thank you, Pat. Here is the cardigan. Is it a little rumpled? Yes. Is it fine? Yes. It is a side closing cardigan. And yeah, I knitted it from the top down, and I basically knitted the yoke and then wound off some of this color yarn so that I would have some for each side. Continued knitting the body, started with the other color. It was like all one skein, but like different colors along the way. So then I kind of just reserved some of that body color for each sleeve. So I think it looks pretty natural, and it's very cute on her. And I really liked it. It was really easy. I might knit her another one in a bigger size some point. Show you the back is just plain. And I can't find the name of this yarn. I really like it, and it's held up pretty well. And then I got some little wooden buttons off of Etsy that go with it. And yeah, this has been a really great sweater for her. I really like it. And the pattern was pretty easy to follow for me. Sometimes PetiteKnit's patterns are a little bit like simplified, like short, not like a lot of description. So it could be a little bit tricky to kind of like figure out what exactly it was, but I managed fine. And yeah, this has been getting a lot of wear, and she's almost grown out of it. So there it is. Next up, oh, here's something fun. I just whipped this up over, oh God, so many like times laying with her, like trying to get her to sleep. I would be laying down with her and then have my arms out and like knitting. I'm crazy like that. So don't don't make any comparisons to me. This is just a little felted wool ball. So what I did was I held variegated rainbow yarn with a reddish yarn, both wool, and then just knit a rectangle and sewed up the end. Where is it? I don't know. It blends so well. Oh, there it is. Sewed up the end and then sewed up the edges and stuffed it with wool. And then I threw it in the laundry and washed it and dried it with a load of laundry on hot, and it felted just like a dryer ball. So she's not really old enough to use this yet, but I think it'll be really fun later on. It was very easy to make. I love making little toys and I want to make more. So maybe in my next video or two, there will be some more little toys. That's very fun. Knitted ball. And then I think that's it for my knitting that I have been finished with. Let's see. I wanted to share one sewing project that I have finished with, and that is mending. I have been doing a lot of mending because just things didn't fit, things had holes, just everything. Yeah. Somehow I had no pants that fit. And after many weeks of just not having time to sit down and sew, I prioritized these during a nap time. These are like the pants I wear all the time. They are black linen. I drafted the pattern a few years ago, and this is the front with big darts, box pleats, I guess they are technically, going up into the waistband. So what I did, oh, and then the back, it used to have like actual darts, like pretty big darts, just going up over the bum. What I did, because I really wanted to keep wearing these, but they were too small, was I completely ripped off the waistband, which was just like a set waistband, and they have a side zipper. But I took off the waistband and I cut a new one because I still had fabric, and I sewed a new waistband. Oh, and I took out the darts. So that gave me like 4 more inches, which was perfect. And then put on a new waistband, which was actually a channel, ran a twill tape through it, and now they are drawstring pants, which is so much better. I kept the side zipper as well. So that's just the same. I just added that channel waistband and got rid of the old one. Oh, I actually think I just added on like a chunk. Yeah, that's where I added on actually to the old waistband. So yeah, that's probably like 5 inches right there. And then I can gather it down to my waist because drawstrings are everything right now. So much better. And now I have my favorite pair of pants again, which is the best. Oh my God, when you don't, you can't wear a lot of things after being pregnant. So after giving birth. So that was a win. And then the crotch ripped out like a few weeks later. So I just finished just doing a rectangular patch on there. You can still see the chalk lines where I just kind of like stitched it down on the machine. Rectangular patch over the crotch. Very exciting, but it actually is to me because now I have pants. It's a beautiful thing. Let's see. Now I'm going to talk about projects I am currently working on, works in progress. And let's see. Oh, no, I have one last thing that I finished sewing. I'm just like looking at my pile here. This is extremely cute. I am kind of really into this. You see the scale. This is the scale. So this is probably going to fit like 6 to 12 months old. This is a little jacket that I made with some 100% wool. It's made with a double knit wool fabric, and then the ties are wool jersey that I had. I had all of this. I'm not really like buying any materials other than yarn occasionally. So The pattern is by Red Creek Kids, and it's, I believe, the garden jumpsuit. And I just used the bodice and the sleeves and lengthened it a little bit. And that's the back. So it's a raglan sleeve construction. And I used like the hem of the fabric on the sleeves, so it's nicely finished. This fabric I got in Sweden. It's scraps from a company that makes wool clothing, and I just saw on their website that they sold their scraps like really affordably, and I was really excited about that because they were very colorful and cute, and I wanted to make little things. And so technically the fabric is reversible, but there's seams on the inside, so this is like a little wool jacket that she can wear in the winter. So that was extremely fun, and sewing a sweater is a lot faster than knitting a sweater. However, I am also knitting her a new sweater. So I will show you that. This is going into my current projects. This is a sweater pattern. This is like the full-size adult pattern. Is by Davies, but I just used the chart of this design, little stars, to make a little version of this baby sweater. So it is a Tìoraidh-ish sweater. This middle checkered area is where I'm going to sew and then cut and make it into a cardigan. And then you can also see on the sides, that's where the arms are going to go in on that little checkered area. So I will keep you updated on this. Hopefully by next video I will have it done. I'm trying to make it big enough so it lasts a while because it's taken a while. Has little like garter, I'm just doing like garter stitch edging. I don't think that was in the pattern. I think it was just ribbing. I'm just making it up completely other than the chart. So I don't think I'll have enough yarn. This is how much blue yarn I have left for the rest of the body. I need to finish this gray section, do one more blue section. That will be the top with the collar, a little bit of like decreasing for the collar. Then I need to knit 2 sleeves. So I might try and find a dark blue in a similar weight and color, because no one really cares about if it's exactly the same. These were both yarns that I had in my stash. I believe the gray is from my high school, Alpacas and Sheep in Vermont. Very cute. I think that was a gift. And then the blue is just some random blue. I don't know where it's from. I just had it forever. So it is super nice to not have to buy wool and just use what I have. So I'm super excited about this, and I think it will be nice. I deliberated on what to make for her next sweater quite a bit. I wanted to do some form of color work, something 2 colors and simple but bold and eye-catching, and I think I succeeded in that. And yeah, part of my design process is just like looking at a lot of pictures, looking on Pinterest, looking in my knitting books, and doing a swatch if I like something. So I do take the time to do that, and I think it has paid off. And I did weigh the yarn before I started, so I thought that I would have enough for the sleeves, but I think it's coming out a little bit bigger than I expected, and that's totally fine. So still thinking about buttons. I think maybe silver buttons or wooden. Silver could be pretty. And I just sew them on like really, really securely with polyester sewing thread like a million times. So I feel okay about them being on her sweater at this point. If she gets a little bit more vigorous with like pulling on things, I might change my mind and do a different fastening method. I did those bows on that red cardigan I sewed, so we'll see. I'm learning about that. If you have advice, please tell me. So that is what I'm currently working on. I need to get up my motivation to do that again though. And then last but definitely not least is a design that I am working on. It's not going to look like this in the end very much, but this is a hat. I am still thinking of the name. I want to get this top part to decrease quicker and have it be like a little bit more, maybe like that. And then this is a little bit like too wide if I put it on. Yeah, if this was just like flatter, and this is going to be different around the front. I can show you. But I can talk a little bit about the design. The band part is 3 colors and inspired by some pictures I saw of patterns from the Faroe Islands, which is a little group of islands in the North Sea, I believe, in Scandinavia, or it's in the Nordic region, and it has a unique knitting culture. And then the upper part was just a simple like striped decrease. So I'm gonna figure out the way to decrease that more quickly. So I have to rip this out, which I've been procrastinating on. And then this sample is a little bit big around, but that's fine. It's knit in Jamison's wool, and I don't know the colorways offhand, but I can write them in the description below. It is a green, purple, red, and pink. And I got this yarn for Mother's Day back in May. But yeah, I was just inspired to design a hat. This looks very elf-like also. So I'm gonna knit it also in a neutral colorway. So I have 4 more colors that I bought because I thought it would be nice to try it in like a more neutral palette. This is the Shetland Spindrift as well. So this is my, I guess this is my acquisitions because this is the only yarn I've bought. And I have not bought any fabric either. So this is my acquisition of the year, of the summer, of the past 6 months. And this is Moorit, Shetland Black, Natural White, and Sholmit are the colors. And I'm gonna do that hat in these colors as well. I don't know when that will happen. I would like to get this design out, but it is, I have 2 small knitting patterns available already, but I haven't done like a super thorough, like multicolored whole thing pattern. So I'm gonna take my time making that nice and getting it all ready to release, I guess is the word, and promote and do everything. So I want to do it well, but I also want to get it done. So I'm kind of, you know, seeing what to prioritize in my day-to-day. And as you know, with the baby, I am a little busy. So I was just happy to sit down and record this video. That, I believe, let's see. So that hat is my current project, as well as that little colorwork sweater for my daughter. I also have a big sweater project for myself that has been dragging on for probably 1.5 years, I think. I didn't want to get into it in this video, but next video I will certainly talk about it. That is my promise. I need to work on that and I need to finish it. It has been going on for too long, and it has kind of made me scared of any sweater project. So that's not good. I can certainly knit sweaters. I've knitted a bunch of sweaters for myself. This one needs the sleeves, and it might need some intensive reworking on the body. So I am not inspired to do that, but I really, really want to finish it, and I want to wear it, and I designed it myself, and I think it's going to be really awesome. So I need some motivation for that. So hold me accountable. And then the other thing I want to knit is a balaclava for my daughter. And that's like the fun, shiny project because I can just make it nice and quick and new and fresh, and it's not a hanging around project. That I'm going to do the Sunday Balaclava by PetiteKnit, and I think I have some pink Rowan, like tweedy soft wool. I don't have it right in front of me, so I don't know if that's going to be enough, but I'll try my best to use something from my stash. I just want to use my wool. Like I want to use it. It's more fun. It's obviously more affordable, but it also is more fun to have the constraints of a palette and work with that. So I'll probably also ask for wool for holiday gifts. So, you know, that's very generous as well. So those are my projects right now. Please leave me a comment. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me what you liked best out of my projects. What are you, what should I prioritize? Should I prioritize this sweater? Should I prioritize finishing my hat design? All advice needed for this season of life. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe. And I will see you next time in my next video. Bye.